Hi everybody, this is Sean at Honey Drop Farm, and I just boiled 2 gallons of water to make thicker syrup for my bees than I could with cold water. I tried hooking up my hose to my hot water heater out of that spout at the bottom where you're supposed to drain it and get the residue out, and that's right next to where the cold water comes in, so it just wasn't hot enough. And anyway, it probably wouldn't have been hot enough anyway to make really thick syrup. So the hotter it is, the more sugar you can dissolve. And in fall, you want to have lots of sugar in your syrup. You don't want to give them too much water. It's a lot of work to evaporate it, and also it time is getting short. And if they need feed, then get them the part of the feed that counts, which is the sugar. So anyway, I got a 2-gallon pot here and 6-gallon bucket. Still has some residue left in the bottom, but not enough for me to worry about. Oftentimes when you're mixing sugar, you leave it sit, you'll get a whole bunch of sugar in the bottom like this. That's probably, an inch and a half thick, that much. So at some point when that builds up, I will just pour some hot water into that and get rid of that. And use that. But today I'm just going to do it this way, and I'll show you how to mix it too. An easy way to mix it. So these are just little 4-pound bags of sugar from the local supermarket. Ended up being cheaper than Walmart. Always keep an eye out for sales and stuff. Walmart has been 30-some cents all summer per pound, and they just went up to like 60 cents a pound, and the local supermarket was like a couple cents cheaper, plus it's closer. So yeah, I got it there. This brand of sugar is really dusty. Hopefully that means that it's easier to dissolve with all those really fine particles. So I'm going to put in, I forgot to count, but I'm aiming for like 28 or 32 pounds of sugar, something like that. And you can put a surprising amount of sugar into a surprisingly small amount of water. So here's my 2-gallon pot, and it's hot. I'm going to pour it in. I guess I should have shown this to the camera, but this was, you can still kind of see it, I guess, but this was full to like here. The sugar, it was like 5 gallons of sugar, but a lot of that is just air. Let's see if I can do this. A lot of that is just air. And you see all those bubbles coming up? That's air coming out of the sugar. So now I'm going to mix it up a little bit with a stick before I use my drill, just so the drill doesn't have to work so hard. So most of the sugar will dissolve with just a stick, and the drill is just to get those last straggling grains, most of them anyway. So this is already mostly dissolved. Did you see how the level of the water goes down? Now when they say 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, all those different ratios, that first number is the sugar. So this is going to be something like 2 to 1, maybe probably a little bit more than that. Although the only way to know for sure is with a refractometer, like what you would use for testing your honey, to see the moisture content. So if you have one of those, go ahead and test. I'm going to show you what I do for a drill for mixing. So here it is. So here's my Milwaukee drill, handy because it's cordless. Get some of those wire coat hangers. like this and twist them up and fold them over up here. You can put some duct tape or something around there if you want to keep it steady. And this will be your mixer, just like a cake beater. So you can just chuck this up in your grill. Oops, and this is really good for mixing. There we go. So nothing fancy, but it works. So let me show you what it looks like when I start stirring. A lot easier than stirring it up with a stick, for sure. So now I'll just do this for a few minutes until it doesn't feel so grainy. Right now, if I put my finger in the syrup and I rub it together, it feels really grainy. You can probably even see the reflection on the grains. Or maybe not, I don't know. I want to show you what happens in these rabbit feeders when you don't let the sugar settle out. So you want to let that sugar settle out because, before you pour it, let that hot liquid cool off for at least a few hours. Prepare your syrup some hours in advance, and then if there's any syrup, if there's any sugar at the bottom that needs to settle out, well then it'll also have a chance to do that while the bucket is cooling off. So then you won't get this problem. See, this isn't really a serious problem, but it takes the bees longer to drink their syrup because there's all this sludge in the way. It's been a couple of hours and our sugar has settled to the bottom. So it's much more clear now than it was. So I'm going to pour it out into other buckets so you can see how much sugar is left in the bottom of the bucket that settled out. Okay, here it is. I'm realizing that I probably should have added more water or maybe stirred it a little longer because the sugar is up to here. That's all the sugar that did not dissolve. See that? That is, I don't know, maybe 4 inches of sugar that did not dissolve. But that's okay. I'll dissolve it next time I make syrup. In the meantime, I do have some really nice, thick syrup with lots of sugar in it and not too much water to feed my bees. So I'll be feeding them that tonight after it's finished cooling down. Oh, anyway, hopefully that was helpful. And if it was, please do me a favor and click the thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.